welcome to another episode of I Just Want to Be Spiritual. Today I'm going to be talking about how my spiritual journey has been impacted by me being an empath. And I will tell you all about what an empath is in just a minute. But first, of course, we have to do the crystal of the day. Today is Dalmatian stone. So you can see it looks like a Dalmatian, the dog. So it's white with like black and brown spots, and it looks like the dog Dalmatian. So that's why it's called Dalmatian stone. It's also referred to as Dalmatian jasper, but I've read that it's not quite the same components as actual jasper. And so a lot of people, there's a debate whether to call it Dalmatian jasper or Dalmatian stone. So it may be found under either one of those names. So Dalmatian stone is used for encouraging joy, a joyful and playful nature. So if you're somebody who is typically uptight, high strung, just very wound up energy, this might be a stone that you can work with to encourage you to kind of just let go and enjoy the playfulness of life. It also, I believe, works with like enhancing creativity. So just kind of that artsy side of life, that joyful, happy sense of just allowing things to flow, I guess. And then helping to dispel negative thinking. So it also can help you with depression, I've heard. Obviously, it's not going to cure depression, but it can kind of help you lift your spirits out of that depressive state if you use it along with other tools to help with your depression. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not saying that this is going to cure depression by any means, but it may be a tool you can use to aid in helping get out of depression. And just helps you to transform out of that stuck thinking, those old patterns of thought, those old habits that just are not working anymore. You can use Dalmatian stone to help you get out of that. So again, that is the Dalmatian stone. And when you're looking for it, you just remember it looks like a Dalmatian dog. And you'll be able to find it. So today I wanted to talk about me being an empath and how being an empath has affected and shaped my spiritual journey in my life. So an empath is someone who is highly intuitive, highly connected to other people's energy and their feelings, is able to sense when things are going on or when things are not right. And to help me understand it better, I bought books and, looked on different websites and things to kind of get a clearer understanding of what it means. This book in particular is called Empath. Simple title. It's by Judy Dyer. That's her on the back. Where's the camera here? And so this book kind of helped me get a little bit clearer about what an empath is and what it means to be an empath. I kind of came across this term at some point in my journey. I don't really remember where or how. And it was like a light bulb went off and I was like, that explains it. That is who I am. That is what's going on. And, it just explained a lot. And so I just want to read kind of her definition of an empath to get a clearer understanding of it before I go into the rest. So it says, an empath is a person with an open spirit. They unconsciously sense things in the unseen and the seen realm to the point where it can become a burden. They pick up on the energy that is surrounding them and have a natural ability to tune into the feelings of others. They are influenced by other people's moods, thoughts, desires, and wishes. Being an empath is not limited to high sensitivity and emotions. They intuitively know the intentions and motivations of others. An empath is not something that is learned. You're either born this way or you're not. And I think that's a good way of describing and being an empathic person. Just being able to read energy when you enter a room. Being able to tell when somebody is not feeling their best, even if they don't say it. Being able to see in somebody's eyes that something is going on. Even sometimes to the point where I'm able to tell something's going on with somebody and before they're even able to verbalize and express what's happening. I just have a feeling that something isn't right. And so that is part of my empathic nature. Another thing in the book she says is, as an empath, you are constantly in touch with the feelings and energy of others, which means that you are continuously bearing the weight of the emotions of those around you. And that is definitely true for me. I feel like ever since I was a child, I have been just able to sense and feel when things were not right. I've been able to read people. I've been able to I feel in my body, and I just feel like almost like a sixth sense, I guess, that this person does not have good intentions, or this is not somebody that I want to spend a lot of time around because just something is off. And for a long time, I didn't realize that this is not something that everybody can do. I didn't realize that not everybody can sense when somebody doesn't have good intentions, or when somebody has bad energy, or when somebody's just not a good person. I figured because it's so clear to me that I'm like, why do you not understand, or why don't you see what I see? And so it made me second guess myself a lot, and it made me question myself. And was I being too harsh? Was I being too critical? Was I being overly sensitive? Was I wrong? And 9 times out of 10, I wasn't wrong, and I've had to learn how to work with this gift that I've been given, and also speak up if need be. So if somebody asks me, what do you think of this person, or, we're having a conversation, being more comfortable with being honest and open and just saying, like, I don't really get good vibes from this person, or I just don't really see this going well, or I don't get any funny vibes for this person, or I feel comfortable, or I feel like their intentions are pure, their heart is pure. I can see where they're coming from. And so just being that empathic type of a person has brought good and bad. I guess not necessarily bad, but it is it burdens me sometimes, because I don't always want to say what I really think or how I really feel about somebody, because, say for instance, it's somebody's relationship and they're really happy with this person, they want to be with them, and I can just kind of tell off the bat that a person may not be, physically abusive or something, but they may not have the best intentions, or I just don't see this going in a good way or ending well or being a healthy relationship for the individuals involved. But I can't always say that because it's not my relationship, and people have to figure out on their own. So it is a challenge sometimes to feel these feelings so deeply, and to have this just innate knowing about things and not be able to share them, and sometimes not be able to explain them, or not always trusting my own instincts and intuition because of, as a child being told that I was too sensitive, or, just never feeling that confidence in myself to make a decision has caused me to always second guess my decision. So I always question, am I right? Am I wrong? Is this the right thing to do? Should I say that or should I not? And that is something that I'm currently working on, is following my gut, trusting my instincts, and then going with that first my first mind, not second guessing and challenging myself, just because it's second nature. Because for the most part, I do have a knowing, and I do know when things are right and when things are wrong. I just have that second nature of wanting to second guess myself and doubt myself. So finding out that I am an empath has kind of helped me put a name to it. And as much as I don't like labels, it kind of helps to understand what this thing is and what has been happening to me my whole life. Whereas before I felt badly for being who I was. I felt badly for being so sensitive. I felt badly for being so wise and intuitive at a young age, and being able to tell adults as a child, like, this isn't right, you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be acting this way, and all those different things where this is not normal child behavior is explained now because I am an empath. So yeah, it just made me feel so much better, because as a child I just felt so badly about myself, and even growing into adulthood I always felt badly about myself because I am hypersensitive, and when things get very emotional I will cry. I cry at the drop of a dime. I'm very sensitive, and even if I'm not feeling necessarily sad, the emotion of things and just that emotion comes out in tears for me. Whereas some people, it may be expressed in anger or, whatever. For me, it's tears. And so I've learned how to accept that part of myself and be okay with the fact that that is who I am, that is how I express myself. It is something that naturally happens. It's something that I do not have control over. I can't stop it from happening. When I feel a lot of emotions, I cry. And so I'm learning, and I have learned, to accept myself and stop apologizing for being myself. And I think by understanding and knowing that I am an empathic person, it has allowed me to be more of my true self and be more accepting of myself. So just, if you ever have those feelings, a feeling like you absorb people's energies when you walk into a room, or you don't know why you feel sad when you weren't sad before, but somebody walked into a room and they were sad, and now you're just feeling really, really sad. And of course, people have empathy, but that's a little bit different than being an empath. So being empathetic is more universal. Being empathic is not always as universal. So having empathy, being able to feel badly for someone and put yourself in their shoes, is different than physically in your body, intuitively feeling somebody's energy, even if they don't say anything. So I feel like to be empathetic, you have to know what somebody's going through. They have to explain to you their situation. They have to tell you what's going on for them. Otherwise you can't really be empathetic if you don't really know their situation, or if you can't physically see what's going on. If you just see somebody on the street and they look fine, you're not really going to have empathy for them, because you don't think that they have anything going on. I think they're perfectly fine. If you are an empath and you see somebody who looks maybe perfectly fine on the outside, they're smiling and stuff, if you are an empath, you may be able to see past that. You may be able to feel their energy and hear what they're not saying, and know that just because they are smiling doesn't mean that they are truly, truly happy, and just kind of be able to sense that there are other things going on behind just the surface, what you can see. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense as it relates to empaths. But that has just been my own journey, just my personal journey as an empath. I know there are a lot of empaths out there who have different journeys, but for me, this has been one of the things that I've had to learn how to do, is protect my own energy. So because I am very sensitive to other people's sadness and anger and just everything else, like as soon as somebody comes into a room with that, and I start feeling anxious in my body. You know, if somebody comes in with anxious energy or frustration or just verbalizing how bad their day is, it's very, very draining for me. I'm very, very sensitive to that. And it's hard to tune out. And so I'm still learning how to protect my own energy and not allow other people's anything to get into my own personal bubble. It's something I have not perfected yet, but that is the goal, is to protect myself. And as an empath, a lot of times we will draw in people who need healing. There's a term called energy vampire. So they kind of suck your energy out of you, and they just come into the room and they just drain the energy and the life out of you and out of the room, because they just are so intense and they need so much that it can leave you feeling depleted of your own energy if you don't protect yourself, first. So it's really important as an empath to protect your own energy. And I do that by using crystals, so protection crystals that are black, like hematite, kyanite, tourmaline, to protect my own energy and kind of repel other people's energy, so that I don't leave a situation or a room feeling drained just by somebody else walking into the room. So as an empath, just be mindful of those types of people. Be mindful that you will attract those type of people because you have a healing energy and because you give off a peaceful, loving, just healing vibe. People who need healing are naturally going to gravitate towards you because they see something in you that they need or that they would like to emulate or to be. And so they come to you to get that. And this can happen in friendships, dating relationships, work relationships. I've heard that there are empaths out there who, just random strangers just come up to them and start sharing their life story with them. And it's just because of that energy that you give off. People can sense that. People can sense that you are a healer and you are somebody who is meant to come and help people. But it's just about finding the balance between helping people and assisting people, but also not to the point where you are being a detriment to yourself and allowing yourself to be dragged down energy-wise. So just be mindful of that if you feel that you are an empathic person, or if you know somebody who is empathic. So this is also a good lesson for people who may not be empaths themselves, but who may be listening to this and identifying somebody that they know as an empath, especially adults with children, because children can definitely be empaths. If you have a feeling like maybe my child is an empath, start researching it, start looking up things, start really trying to understand what that means and how to nurture that person so that you are not crushing their spirit. For me, growing up, my family did not understand what being an empath was. So it was a lot of just not intentional, but a lot of spirit crushing for me, because it was always like, be tougher, get thick skin, stop crying, all that kind of stuff, and just kind of beat me down, because it's like, this is who I am. This is a part of me. This is my spirit. This is ingrained in me. There is nothing that I can do to change it. And so if you are armed with the knowledge of knowing what an empath is and what an empath can do or how they feel, then be mindful of how you interact with that person and how you treat them and what they may be going through, because they may not even understand how to explain what's happening. So just be sensitive to that. Another thing with being an empathic person is I tend to attract narcissistic people, and this goes in just regular life and then also dating relationships. So people that when I've tried to dating online or whatever, I feel like I tend to attract the same type of people, same type of men who need healing, who are, not emotionally available, who are looking for somebody to heal them, to fix them. And for a while there, I was falling into the trap. And now I realize that I need to be fixing myself and be whole and be aware of my gift as an empath, so that when I do attract somebody like that into my life, I can stop it before it goes any further. And I don't need to be a fixer, and I don't need to help this person fix their life. And I am not the one that's going to be the one to change their lives. They have to be in it to change, for themselves. So by me begging and pleading for them to change is not going to make them change. It may change for a while, but it's not going to stick, because they're not doing it for themselves, they're doing it for me. So that's another episode, talking about dating as an empath. But just as a part of my own spiritual journey, as an empath, knowing how to set boundaries has been something that I had to learn, especially with men and with dating, because those are the types of men and types of people that empath usually attracts. So just being aware and knowing that, oh, I've seen this kind of behavior before, like what's happening here kind of thing, is something that I'm still working on. And that is my main goal, is just to protect my energy. So being that I'm able to now know that I carry the energy and emotions of other people, I can read energy, I can know when something is off, I can feel when something is off. It helps me to navigate this world better. And I feel like I am meant to help people, and I'm meant to share information, and I just have to find the best way to do that without draining myself. And so I am an emotional empath. There are different types of empaths. And so just protecting my own emotions and my own heart, because I'm so sensitive and so caring, and I just feel so terribly when people that I love feel badly. I take on that emotion. And so just learning how to be empathetic without taking on all of their troubles and trying to fix, and like just feeling so badly. One thing I wanted to just share is I had a few books that helped me when I was learning about being an empath, just kind of explain more. I showed you one in the beginning that was called Empath. And then I have this other one here called the Empath's Survival Guide. This is by Judith Orloff. And this one I really liked because it goes in depth about a quiz asking different questions so you can find out whether or not you are an empath. It talks about empaths, emotions, and health, empaths and addiction, protecting yourself from narcissists, empaths and parenting. So if you're a parent raising an empath, what does that mean? What does that look like? In the workplace, using your intuition and just the gift. So it's a really in-depth book, and it's written pretty clearly and easy to understand. So I like to use this one to just kind of refer back to when I want to understand myself a little bit better, and maybe help explain to people what an empath is. And then I also have this one. This is the Happy Empaths Workbook. I haven't used this one as much as the other ones, but I have filled out a little bit of it, and it is exactly what it says it is. It's a workbook. So it has different topics. There'll be quizzes. There'll be prompts and there's lines for you to write in. There's affirmations in here. It tells you different types of energetic connections, how to keep your energy clear, how to cut cords. If you are energetically connected to somebody else, how to kind of cut that cord if it's becoming toxic, so that you are not draining your own life force by being connected to somebody else who is not healthy for you. So yeah, that is my journey with being an empath. I hope that I made it clear to you what an empath is and what an empath does, and the beautiful gift that it is to be an empath, and the difference between being empathetic and being empathic. I would encourage anybody who feels like this resonates with them to do more research, to find podcasts, books, websites, Instagram pages, YouTubes that talk more about the empathic journey, so that you can better understand yourself and understand the type of empath you are, and to understand what it means to be empathic and how to protect yourself so that you can do what you're meant to do in this life. So I hope that you guys will join me next time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow. And thanks for joining me on another episode of I Just Want to Be Spiritual.